came from a family where he saw his dad abuse his mother. And so his view of how you respect women comes from that. I also talk to women who saw their mothers abused, and they think that if they just get pushed or shoved, it's better than getting their nose bloody, their teeth knocked out like their mom did, so they're not being abused as bad, and that's okay. So my speech to you today is about what you see and what you model in front of your children and how that has a legacy of abuse that continues. So be careful, and when you talk about those things, the first thing that I want to talk to you about is how you pick. I found a lot of times, even in my own life, that when your picker is off, sometimes you end up with people that you don't deserve for a number of different reasons. And so when I was dating, first thing I did was nobody knew my home phone number or where I lived, because I had a 5-year-old at home. I was a single parent for a while. And I didn't want them following me home if they were crazy. And sometimes you can tell early on.
That's right.
Sometimes crazy folk can mask it for a little while. And so you have to be real careful who you bring home and who you bring around your children. And that's for men and women. The next thing I did was when I went out with him, I went out in public places. I didn't know who he was. I wasn't going to get in a car with somebody I didn't know enough to know whether they were going to be safe.
That's right.
And so you don't get in the car with them until you have put them through some paces, asked them some questions, observed how they act. And then women, what I'll say to you is, what you see is what you get. If he tells you that he's hit prior women because she made me hit her, or we got in fights because something she did, there's no reason for one adult to ever put their hands on another. There's no reason. There are a number of things you do. You can walk away. If a woman hits you, you need to run away. If a man hits you, you need to run away.
That's right.
I didn't say walk, I said run.
That's right.
Because it doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better. So the first time they hit you, get out. Yes. Because it's not going to get better. The other thing is discipline. When you talk about, and when you date somebody, you're talking about how you discipline. Ask them what their thoughts are on those things. Some people have a skewed view of discipline. That's also domestic violence. You know, spanking a kid till you got bruises on them, or they got marks and that kind of thing is way beyond what a kid needs to correct behavior. So you got to talk about those things, because not only are you in danger, but your children are too.
Yes, right. Come on.
And that's for women.
Absolutely.
So if you find those danger signals, don't do like most women do, I'm included. We always say, well, he'll do better, or I can help him change those things. It's not up to you to change somebody else. It's up to you to get away from somebody, and then they can change themselves by themselves on those kind of issues. Because those are life-threatening. Those are what I call deal breakers. They're deal breakers for your children and your family. The other thing is, what did you learn in kindergarten? It's real simple. You learn that when you go to the walk down, everybody keeps their hands to themselves. You see little kids walking in the hall with their hands to their side, their hands
That's
to
right.
Those are lessons that should go throughout life. Talk to people in a nice voice. Your inside voice. Somebody's yelling and screaming at you in front of your kids, it tells your daughter or your son that's appropriate behavior, and it's okay for somebody to treat you like that.
Come on now.
I'm not saying I haven't been in a situation where I felt like doing that. I have been in a situation where I feel like wrapping my fingers around somebody's neck.
Come on. That's right.
Sometimes.
That's right.
But you gotta stop for a minute, you gotta process it, and you gotta find a way to deal with your anger that is non-violent and non-threatening. If you gotta walk off and leave, go get a book, go sit somewhere by yourself, go do that. Breathe and think about what your next step's going to be.
Come on now. That's right.
The other thing is about education. Sometimes when we grow up in patterns of abuse, you have to be educated to see that the things that you're dealing with are not normal ways that folk interact with each other. It may be normal for your family. And my family's not one that doesn't have some folk in it that thought hitting people was appropriate. My family's not exempt from that. But what we have done in my family is we have taught each other how to talk to each other, because my mom taught us that, how to interact with one another without using your hands, your fists, or demeaning the other person.
That's right. Come on.
Who you claim to love. If you are demeaning someone that you claim to love, it is inappropriate no matter what the circumstances are. Don't do it, because it takes you to their level, and it also damages folks in ways that are not supposed to happen when you're in a loving relationship. And if someone's doing you that way, then that is not an appropriate way to display love to you.
That's right,
you have to
absolutely.
understand that. Don't fool yourself about what you see. Now, after you pick wrong, you can come to my office. I do family law. I'm running for judge right now, but when I did family law, one of the things I would do was I would go to the initial temporary order on the divorce, and I'd talk about how the kids were being treated and the wife was being treated. I see family law a little bit differently than I do litigation. I'm pretty tough in litigation. When it comes to family law, you're trying to separate families, but leave them healthy and intact to the best of your ability in a fair manner. So I talk to women about how they're talking to you and how he's talking to the kids, and then I'll do things like, well, he needs anger management. And we're not going to agree to anything or him seeing the kids until he has been through some anger management and we get a report from a psychologist. And I refer to the places I know that are sliding scale of costs to get that done. Because if a woman is left a man because of those kind of things, you still have to heal the family and the kids. And the man needs healing too, to figure out why he's that way, because it's not productive for him too. So you've got dysfunction that goes all the way around. So there are some things I will refuse to do. I'll refuse to allow visitation if I know a man or a woman is being verbally and physically abusive to anybody else.
That's right. Come on now.
Because you've got to stop the violence at the point you see it. You can do temporary restraining orders. There's temporary restraining orders that are automatic in divorces to stop folk from going over there when they get served and doing all kinds of stuff, moving money, beating up people, kicking in doors. Those things are automatic in the state of Oklahoma. So as soon as you file for divorce, there's an automatic temporary restraining order that goes in place. And when that does, if they violate those things that it says, you can go in, hold them in contempt of court, they can be jailed or fined, or they can lose visitation. So those are some things that Oklahoma has done. You can put in your divorce decree or temporary orders that, you know, you have to provide visitation for a certain time period to relate in.
You're here right after Senator Connie Johnson speaks. When he first
Do you think he probably beat the fourth one?
No.
Those are things that our lawyers who are concerned about how our children are being raised think about when we're doing divorce work. It's not just about we're going to fight and get you the most money. It's about, especially when those kids are little. I'm real cognizant of those things. When somebody's kids are 17 and a half, about 18, and they're about gone at that point in time, they've got 6 months to work with, not so much. When I see people come in and they've got kids that are 2, 3, and 4, I understand that they've got to have a relationship that they're going to be in together until that child is at least 18 years old. And for that child's benefit, it has got to be as healthy as I can make it as a lawyer for both sides. I had to tell some people that last week I was in court and they were fighting over something, and I said, look, I don't care about either one of you two. What I really care about is this 5-year-old who's in the
That's right. Come on. That's right.
That you all don't seem to be worried about right now. So let's work for the 5-year-old's benefit. And then if some of y'all, both y'all get benefits, then that's fine. But the 5-year-old doesn't deserve what you all are doing right now. And that's going to have to stop. And I've been blessed that when I do that, I usually have counsel on the other side who's looking at me saying the same thing. Sometimes I don't, but most times I do. So that's kind of what I try to do in my family law practice. And so it's also one of the things that I plan to try to do when I become district judge, if this district elects me in that position. It's long range, because the children that we have in our community are going to be the ones that are taking your place and my place. And we have got to start working on raising them in a healthy manner and paying more attention to what's going on with them if we plan to have longevity and be successful in our community. When you have picked wrong, and all the things I'm talking about have worked, and he has kicked the door in, or she's kicked the door in and done something to you, well, then you're going to probably end up in the domestic violence unit of the Oklahoma County DA's office. And with regard to those things, the best person to talk to you about that is Susan Stallings. She and I go way back. Before she was in the DA's office, we knew each other. She was in the court clerk's office. Smart lady. I encouraged her to go to law school. I'm not sure I'm the reason she did, but she did go, and she's been a great asset on those cases that I deal with. So I'm going to introduce Susan Stallings from the DA's office.
All right.
She's in the domestic violence
Come on.
unit, to tell you what happens after you pick wrong and you're trying to get out.
Thank you. All right.
Yes, Oklahoma County would be served well, I just want to say.
All right.
I am the team leader for the Domestic Violence Unit of the Oklahoma County District Attorney's Office. What we do is we file the charges. if it rises to that level. In that respect, what we do is we screen charges. And let me tell you, Oklahoma County it's the biggest DV unit in the state because we have the most people and the most crime here.
Right.
Last year, we screened over 3,000 cases. Of those 3,000 cases, we filed over 800 felonies and over 500 misdemeanor counts. So there's a whole lot of it going on, and we need to stop it. The worst thing I can say is that in this county, every 5th homicide is a domestic. Every 5th one is a domestic. We currently have pending 29 domestic homicide cases.